Mr. Mike Lee with us with the Franklin County Democratic Party. And good morning, sir. How are you?
Good morning. Yeah, this is Mike Lee, and this program is Common Sense Matters. It's a monthly news program that the Franklin County Democratic Party puts on to interview people who have progressive ideas, possibly, or guests who have their own story to tell. Today we are honored to speak to Dr. CaryHolman, who has just recently been appointed as the new director of Franklin County Schools. He'll be calling in maybe in 10 minutes or so. So in the meantime, I'll just tell you a little bit about myself. I'm a member of the Franklin County Democratic Party. I'm actually an engineer by trade. I've worked in various industries, the last one being at UTSI as a flight test engineer. I've had the opportunity to have some experience with working in schools. After I retired from UTSI, I decided I would wanted to fill some time by teaching. So I did work for a while at the Lincoln County High School. And after that experience, I gained a lot of respect for teachers. It is amazing how much time and effort is required to prepare lessons and coordinate the class and keep the class organized so everybody's working towards a goal. One of the things I did notice that I didn't expect was the amount of isolation that one feels as being a teacher. I'm used to working on teams, project teams, as an engineer, but when I started teaching, I noticed that you go into the school and you immediately have to face the class, and you teach your lesson, and then you face another class, and there's hardly any interaction with other teachers during the course of the day. So that's something I didn't expect, being a place that is geared towards accommodating a number of people. Dr. Holman has an extensive background. I understand that he originally started his career here in Franklin County and has gone to a number of positions in schools in the Tennessee area. So he is not a stranger to our area. I'm expecting him to call in about 5 minutes or so, and we could get his background and information as soon as he calls in. But I'm expecting also to be joined here with one of my colleagues, Tessa Hill. She has a busy morning, so she may not be able to stay too long. But if she arrives, I'll get her to introduce herself and tell you a little bit about her background. She's also a member of the Franklin County Democratic Party. Yeah, I'm in a strange position because even though I live in Franklin County, like a few other people, I actually live in Tullahoma. So there's always the pull to be concerned with the Coffee County Democratic Party. So that's where I get most of my news, but I've subscribed to the Herald Chronicle, so I get more news from Franklin County than I did before. I guess we're living in some turbulent times with all the political upheavals going on. And the school system is not immune to those controversies. I'm not sure how deeply Dr. Holman will want to get into those issues, but we have the problem with gun violence, as you may heard in the news with the recent school shooting in Nashville. We also have difficulties with, I guess you would call it wokeness, if you know how to, if there is a definition for that term. But I think it deals with LGBTQ issues that is being dealt with in the school system. It's a new trend that we have to get used to.
No, we don't have to get used to it. You can stand up against it.
Well, everybody has their opinion, and the trouble with some issues is they can't be resolved with mathematics or facts or logic. It's just people's feelings and experiences that guide their ideas on those issues. So it might be like the abortion issue that never gets resolved. Everybody has hard and fast ideas that are hard to change. One issue I was always concerned with when I was teaching at Lincoln County is that how the teacher presents himself to the class, and it falls in the category of demeanor. And there's the question: do you act as the friend to the students and try to make them feel comfortable, or do you present a stern face to try to keep the students in line and on their lessons? I guess if I were an experienced teacher, which I decided I didn't have the skills to be one of those superb teachers that love their trade, I would have come up with a method to engage the class. But I think that's a hard concept for new teachers to master, which is, I guess it falls into the category of class management. So I guess the problem is, how do you deal with disruptive students? And it seems like the teacher really doesn't have too much power except by projecting a strong attitude. But maybe we'll get Dr. Holman to elaborate on that topic a little bit more. Okay, I can see it's 8:15, and Dr. Holman hasn't called in as of yet. So I guess I'll speak a little bit more about my experiences. I also taught at Montlow, and the thing that I noticed there is that I taught a subject that was really near and dear to me, which is, which was a field of engineering. Mechatronics was the title of the course. And the students there seemed to have a different outlook than the students in high school. They were more geared to developing a career skill, which made them more intent on the learning the material. Whereas the high school students were not at that maturity level, and they seemed to want to test the teacher constantly. So that got to be a little bit of a difference between those two situations. And otherwise, the other problem I noticed the teachers may have in high school is cell phones. How do you police cell phones? Very, very difficult, because they, go in the pocket and you can't see them. But the students invariably pull them out during the class.
I believe this is your caller. Good morning, Dr. Holman.
Good morning.
How are you?
I'm doing great. How about yourself?
I am blessed.
Good.
Dr. Holman, this is Mike Lee. I'm with the Franklin County Democratic Party. How are you this morning?
I'm doing great. How about yourself? I can barely hear you.
Let me find the volume control.
Go ahead and just...
Yeah, it looks like it's turning out to be a pretty good day here. The sun is starting to shine here. I'm in Winchester at the radio station.
Absolutely. That's a good thing.
Yeah, I guess I have a little bit of problem hearing you too.
Okay. Can you hear me? I mean, I've got it loud.
Okay, yeah, I could hear you good enough, I guess.
Okay.
Yeah, we may be joined here a little bit later by one of my colleagues, Tessa Hill. She's also part of the Democratic Party. And if she pops in, I'll give you a heads up on her. But I understand you're originally from Franklin County yourself.
Absolutely. Born and raised there. Was educated there my entire life. And then after leaving there to go off to college, I returned to become a teacher at the elementary school in which I attended, and then became a middle school. Well, I worked with at-risk programs in the middle schools, and then became a middle school assistant principal before becoming principal at Clark Memorial.
That's quite a resume. By any chance, do you know of the Holmans in Cowan?
They are all my relatives.
Wow. Oh, just by chance here, Tessa has walked into the control room.
Good morning,
Good morning.
Dr. CaryHolman.
Yeah, Tessa,
How are
why don't you give a little bio on yourself? Tessa has a nonprofit that I think she should be very proud of. Okay, she's wanting to hold off for now, but let me just go to some of the questions I have.
Okay.
I understand that Tennessee is considering a third grade retention law whereby the children have to take a test at the end of third grade, and if they pass, they go on to fourth grade, otherwise they stay in third grade. And I guess the reason is that 3 years ago, some children lost out on some of their education due to COVID. What do you think about that law?
Yes, so there's several things that individuals must understand about the third grade retention law, and because it's very complex in nature, and so therefore it's going to take all stakeholders, the school system, the classroom teachers, the parents, really taking the time to really look at the law and see exactly what it says. And to date, as we prepare for the third grade retention law, my position is, as the leader of our district, I'm going to be very proactive and optimistic in regards to what our teachers, what they're doing in classrooms, how we are networking with our parents, how we can maintain good communication with our parents, but then also from the central office standpoint, ensuring that we are supporting our teachers as well as our students and parents to see this when we look, because when you see the word third grade retention law, you may view that as a very harsh thing, but we as educators are very resilient. Educators are very proactive, and so yes, there are some components in the law that will require school systems to rethink the way that we currently do things, as well as classroom teachers, because as you and I know, and those of you that are there in the studio and those that are listening, education continues to evolve over time, and so the approaches that we take to provide quality instruction must shift. One of the things that I've learned in my years of serving as an educator is the message is still the same, and that's educating children at a high level. However, what has changed are the methods. And so with the law, it will take really taking time to delve in to understand each component. And so with that, just some small excerpts. For example, all children in the state of Tennessee have always been required to take state assessments. Now, what we have to get across to individuals is that is an assessment on that particular day, that particular time, for those students to recall information that has been taught to them since the beginning of the school term. And so you all know as well as I know that things do transpire that can cause different frustrations before a child takes a test. So it is just one picture of how we've got to look at how we prepare our students for the next grade. And so when you start looking at the law, and it speaks in regards to those students that are scoring below or approaching, the other two levels are considered meets expectations and exceeds expectations. So there are 4 performance levels in which children children will fall in based on their state test. So any child that is scoring below or approaching, then there are certain things that the district will most definitely put in place as aligned to the law to assist those students to be prepared to move on to the 4th grade.
Dr. Holman, I have a question about that also. Would that reflect kids that have an IEP 504 and them type of programs?
Oh, absolutely. In the law, and that's why I say it will most definitely take all parties really taking the time to read the law together to understand exactly the components, because what can happen is, in the event that a person does not take the time to review or analyze what the law is saying, then information can be misconstrued, which can cause a disruption for individuals. But there are many provisions in place to assist students who, for some reason, may have an IEP, or a student who is an EL learner. So there are many different components there.
Okay.
I guess one of the issues that the news brings up is that there may be a tremendous number of students that need to repeat 3rd grade. Is that a factor, you think?
Well, that's when you think about news reporting, an individual has to sit and think about, okay, so where's the data coming from that they're saying that there's a large number? And so I think that if individuals would take the time to speak with their local school districts, districts are very proactive in the approach of analyzing where children are and who might end up being in this particular category. And by doing so, then the district puts together a plan, and I'm very confident that the district has a plan or that will be most definitely address children that may need additional support in order to be promoted to the next grade. Because here's what we know as educators, and I've been doing this for 27 years, that all children can learn, not all on the same day and not all in the same way. Children learn at different levels. Children learn, you have very visual learners, you have auditory learners, you have children who are tactile learners, those that need hands-on. And so that's why I go back to the methods in which we as educators prepare our instruction each day must be intentional for individualized instruction.
Good point. Just to throw my personal experience into that, I guess we didn't have kindergarten when I started school. I'm 74 now. But I started school when I was 5 years old, and I thought I was dumb. And it wasn't until high school that I finally caught up. And that's one of those factors I think you're talking about, that children learn at different rates and so forth.
Oh, absolutely. I most definitely agree.
Let me go on to another topic. It seems like we have shortages of workers in many different fields, but it's kind of acute in the teaching field. Teachers seem to be leaving the profession for one reason or another. Do you know why that might be occurring?
No, I think with any professional job, you're going to have individuals that are going to always have an exodus to their careers. And so with that, education is a very noble profession. We are the foundation to everything that exists. And the work that educators are doing each day, it becomes more and more of a challenge each and every day. But the realization is those individuals who have sought to have this as their career, there's something about being resilient, and those that choose to lead the profession, I believe they reserve that right. What we as a district have to do and what we as a profession have to do is be very intentional and very creative as to how we are looking to empower individuals to come into our profession. And so with that in mind, I believe strongly in, and I understand that education has changed, but there is absolutely not another career that I would choose to be in. And as I've said before, this is year 27. So there's something about having a mindset that is so honed in on education. I can look past all the negative things that individuals may choose to view in education, because I understand children, and I understand that children need good, solid individuals who truly are invested in their well-being as well as their academic well-being. And so, yes, just as any profession, we're going to continue. People are going to retire. People are going to leave the profession for various reasons, and that's strictly on them. I can't speak to why they feel like they may be leaving, but I can, based on what I have experienced as an educator and as a leader here in my current district, there are individuals that get out of the profession because they see it as, I don't want to do this anymore. There are many mandates that are coming for us. Of course, you're going to have individuals that will most definitely speak of the salaries as well.
Okay. Before you came on, I talked a little bit about my experience as a teacher. I spent practically all my career as an engineer. And then after I retired from UTSI, I decided I'd fill a little bit of time being a teacher, so I taught machine shop at Lincoln County High School. And I guess there's some people who have the gift for teaching, and there's some people like me that don't have that gift.
Dr. Holman, caller wants you to identify the bus driver shortage. What do you plan on? I'm sorry, my microphone wasn't up. What's your plans on the bus driver shortage?
Okay, before I answer that question, I want to respect the gentleman that was speaking, and let me finish his question, then I will most definitely be glad to address that.
Coming from the engineering field where I worked on projects as a team, I know as being a teacher, I felt isolated. You go into class and you face the class for an hour and a half or so. Then you go to your next class, and every once in a while you might bump into another teacher, but there was no working together. It was just, hi, how you doing? And the other problem was, I guess, class, I'll say class discipline, mostly around cell phones, trying to, keep everybody off the cell phone. So it was a little bit of a frustrating situation for me. But like I said, there's some people that make excellent teachers and could deal with all those things. But for me, that was something that was a negative. Would you advise a new teacher on how to deal with those things if the case would occur?
Oh, absolutely. I spend a substantial time doing presentations across the country in regards to classroom management, in regards to educational leadership, also with relationships and connectivity with students, because coupled with what educators are expected to do each day, and that's teach state standards to ensure that children are getting a quality education, to make sure that they're in a safe learning environment, but then also that they're experiencing some fun in their educational experience as well. And so when there are individuals that may be experiencing those difficulties, the very first thing that a teacher must do is acknowledge that he or she is having an issue. And so I've said this many, many times, and as the community, as I get there, people will continue to hear me say it, that I don't see things as problems, I see things as opportunities. And so when there's a presentation that is presented before me, I sit down and I think before I react. And that would then lead directly into the question that the caller had in regards to the shortage of bus drivers. Just like the shortage of teachers, the shortage of bus drivers, there's a shortage of educational assistants, there's a shortage of cafeteria workers, there's a shortage of custodial staff. So we, in education, like any other profession, we have shortages. So the question then becomes, what do we do about it? Well, the thing that you can do about it is you take the time to listen to individuals to hear what their concerns are. You take the time to survey and find out what are the strengths in each of those departments, what areas do we most definitely need to work on. And so because we know we have those shortages, it takes a holistic approach and a very intentional approach from the district to say, what can we put into place to recruit and also retain individuals to come into our district, whether they be a teacher, whether they be an educational assistant, a cafeteria worker, a custodian, or a bus driver, because here's what I value. I value every single employee in the school, in the district. That is important for people to understand that we are all in this together. Bus drivers play an intrinsic role in our schools because we are transporting children to school each and every day. But we've got to make sure that our bus drivers have the support as well to know that safety is priority, and we can't have children getting on buses doing whatever they want to, because parents are lining their children up at the bus stops each morning hoping and trusting that they're going to get to school safe. And so therefore, we as a district, in order to support our drivers, we got to make sure that there are policies and procedures that are in place to support them getting our children to school safe, as well as children, once they enter into a building, that there are adults in the building who are caring, who children know that they can go to when there are issues that may arise. And so when I look at where we are in education, but now I've got to direct my attention directly to our district, the Franklin County School District, I've got to, as a leader, be open to understanding the needs of our community and then making sure that we address things one by one. Because it will take a very collective effort. It's not going to be something that's going to happen overnight. It's not going to be something that's going to happen in a month. But I do believe in the ability to ensure that we as a district will do all that we can to ensure that all of our employees have the support and the resources that they need.
Very good, thank you. I noticed in Lincoln County, some of the teachers pulled second duty as bus drivers. Is that the same thing in Franklin County?
I am not aware of any teachers having to drive a bus as a bus driver to go pick up routes.
Okay, I just wondered.
I have a question. When you was talking about having safety on the buses, do you think that we should have SROs on the buses also?
No,
I know you're having the school.
No, when you look at safety, parents must understand that when bus drivers are driving the bus, that their job is to get our children to school safe. So the idea is children must get on the bus, remain seated, and then comply with the rules and the expectations that the district has, as well as the bus driver. Because what I often tell our students, and I've been a middle school principal for 16 years, that I tell our students, I do not allow children to get on the bus and be disruptive, because that impedes upon the safety of the other children on the bus. So the SROs, they're there in our school. That's their focal point, not a bus.
I'm sorry, your phone broke up.
Can you hear me?
Yeah, I hear you now, Dr. Holman.
Okay.
Another question. Do you agree with tying a teacher's pay to the performance of his and her students on the TCAP test?
No, the teacher pay, when you look at teacher performance, once again, the state test is a one-time assessment. So teacher salaries are based upon their years of experience and their degree levels and not a performance.
Your phone is breaking up, Dr. Holman.
Okay, I said teacher pay is based on their years of service and their degree and not a performance.
Okay.
Back to, we were talking about security on the buses, but security in the schools, there's a number of plans that have been proposed as to how to improve school security from active shooter type situations. And some of the ideas are to have teachers carry guns if they so desire, have armed guards in the schools, metal detectors, keeping the doors locked, security cameras. Which of those methods do you think would be appropriate for Franklin County schools?
Well, one of the things with dealing with safety that was not mentioned that is very key is that we, as a school district and parents, have a partnership to help children understand that safety is very serious, that when there are things that present themselves to be of a concern, that they know how to report to an adult in the building. Think about it from this angle. We go out to stores every single day. We go into restaurants every single day. We travel in and out of airports, and we go to malls. And how often do we pause and think about safety? So in schools, we are very intentional to ensuring a safe learning environment. That's why school doors remain locked throughout the course of the day. people are having, you have to wait until someone can let you into the building. But then I greatly appreciate the collaboration that our district has with the Franklin County Sheriff Department. Our SROs are a wonderful tool. They are a wonderful resource for our schools. I've always supported SROs. I believe it's important because children, one, should be able to see that itself is another great profession that children may desire to go into one day. And just because a person is in a uniform, just because a person has a weapon as our SRO, does not make them a bad person. That is there in our schools to be a resource. And I would challenge individuals to take the time to see and speak with SROs to learn what they do each and every day. They are in schools talking with children, building relationships with children. And so those are the types of things you create. It's about creating a culture and a climate in a school. And the greater your culture and climate is in a school, the greater the return is going to be on your children's well-being in the school as far as safety. No individual place is exempt from individuals doing things that are inappropriate. But schools are working very diligently, districts are working very diligently to put resources in place to continue to provide a safe learning environment for children. So if that means being able to one day, if this great sky of funding comes through and you're able to have, the prevented doors with the film on the doors and the windows, we're fortunate to have an SRO in every building, getting to the point that we have keyless, we have those buzzing systems in every school and lobby areas. There are many things that are in place, but it takes the district. It will, and I, as a leader of that, to ensure parents understand what we have in place, because sometimes it's easy for a person to speak of something if they're not knowledgeable of what's truly there.
The recent shooting in Nashville at the I forget the name of the school. 3 students and 3 faculty were killed. What flaw did they have in their security system that allowed that to happen? I'm one of those. I can't speak to what flaws they had. I can only speak to in regards to the district that I'm currently in, and then of course, as I'm learning more and more about coming home to Franklin County to learn what we currently have in place. Okay, very good.
So I've got about 2 minutes, and then I've got to get off. I've got to go to another meeting.
Did you have something?
We also, you were speaking on SROs, we also have a shortage of SROs. There's only 2 in Franklin County High School. And when one get called out to the alternative school, then there's only 1 left. Will we be doing some hiring for SROs when you come here for the district?
Yeah, so currently in Franklin County, each school has an SRO, and the high schools have what is provided for them, and that's 2. And yes, there are going to be times when an SRO is going to step out, just like it would be times when a teacher is not going to be present or an administrator is not going to be present. And so as the collaborations continue in the district, if there's opportunities for additional SROs, I'd be the first one to say, hey, I'm wide open to that. But currently, we are fortunate in Franklin County to have SROs in all of our schools.
Could we ask one last question?
Sure.
When you were a student at Franklin County High School, what did you think of the Rebel mascot?
So when I saw that question, I thought that was an interesting question, and so I'm going to put it back, and then I'll let you all answer for me, and then I'll answer as well. Because here's the approach that I often take. Ask yourself this question, and those of you that are in the studio, and then the listeners there, I would ask you, what elementary school did you attend?
What elementary school did you attend?
Okay. You asking both of us?
Yes.
Cowan, Good Shepherd,
All right. Cowan. Okay, what middle school did you all attend?
South,
What high school did you attend?
Rankin County.
All right. So notice what I just did. So I attended Decker Elementary. I attended North Junior High School. I attended Franklin County High School. Went on to school and attended Montlow State Community College. Went to UT Chattanooga. Went to Tennessee State. Went to MTSU, and then went to American College of Education. And through all of my educational experience, not one time did the mascot ever come up when someone asks you your school. And so that just goes to show the mascot is just there as a traditional piece of history for schools. When I was a student at Decker Elementary, guess what our mascot was? A red devil. When I was principal at Clark Memorial, guess what our mascot was? A warrior Indian head. When I was at North, it was a gator. When I was at Franklin County, it was a rebel. Those are just the school mascots. None of the mascots have had any bearing on my ability to be an educated young man.
Very good. Thank you so much, Dr. Holman.
Well, thank you all so much for having me.
Okay, wait till you come.
All right, you all have a great day.
You too.
Ten more minutes. Do you have anything you want to say? She has to go to work.
All right, so is that going to wrap up the show for today, guys?
Yeah, they might have called us.
If anybody wants to call in, I know there was one caller that said that they are teachers in Franklin County that drive buses before going to their teaching jobs. So,
I would say I spoke with Franklin County yesterday, and I was talking, about mental health and type of stuff like that. They need another guidance counselor. They only have 3. It's supposed to be 4. So they have a shortage of that. They also have shortage of CDC teachers that they need help with also. So.
I noticed that Tullahoma High School is also trying to encourage their teachers to stay. And one thing that they've instituted, which I think is very clever, is that they're going to have daycare on site for the teachers that have children. Because that's always a problem with parents, even if you're not a teacher. But that would be an extra benefit that would be enticing for a teacher to stay in school.
That's great. So daycare for the teachers to have the children to come there while they're teaching other kids.
Right.
That sounds like an idea.
a lot of things out there,
It is.
a lot of ideas, a lot of things that, need to be addressed. But, the bus shortage is quite a big option right there.
It's hard for me to relate on that because my daughter's always been a driver. I always drove her to school, so I don't really know about the bus drivers. I know we get phone calls when they're gonna be late, or the kids is gonna be late to school, or late coming home.
I think we got a caller. Good morning, caller. You on there?
This is Betty Fraley. I enjoyed my years of teaching. I taught in the classroom 37 years. In high school, most of that time. Some time I spent in middle school. But I would echo what Cary Holman said. If I had my time to go over, I would do the same thing. It is such a rewarding thing. In this last election, I think I had 7 students who were elected to public office. Cary Holman was a student of mine, and he has just become superintendent of schools here. And Tracy Hayworth I had Tracy Hayworth 2 years, and he's the head coach, in addition to those 7 people who've just been elected to public office. So you see the fruits of your labor. Now understand, I started teaching in 1955. My take-home pay was $195 a month. I paid $100 on my student loan. I paid $45 room and board, so I had $50 to live on. Of course, when I quit, I wasn't making, in comparison, I wasn't making much more than that because of the cost of living going up. But I left there and went to the jail and worked with the reentry program and then taught adult ed. So I didn't retire until I was 82, so I must have liked it. I was offered the assistant principalship at the high school and also at South Middle School. And I stayed in the classroom because that's where I wanted to be. I did not want to deal with problem children. I stayed with the classroom. But I just wanted to add that and welcome home Cary Holman. I'm looking forward to his tenure and to see what changes he'll make and so on. But I just wanted to say thank you for all the teachers, and I say a prayer for them every day because it has become more difficult than it was when I did it. But thank you for listening.
Yeah, thanks for the comment, Betty. And you kind of brought up a good point that there's that personal touch that can't be measured. That some teachers have that gift, and some teachers don't. And apparently, you had that gift since you had so many students that succeeded. Thank you.
All right. We were talking about the bus shortage, and Tisha said, her child she's transported her child to school every day. But I know in a particular, a lady that is drives handicap bus. She has 3 routes to try to get through before, and they're all over the county. And I know for a fact that she's talked about other bus drivers with the same issues, because there is such a bus driver shortage. All right, anything else? All right. Well, it was good to have y'all today, and we'll be looking forward to seeing you in the near future. All right, it is 55 minutes after the hour of 8 o'clock. It's Common Sense Matters.